On an ultramarathon, you know that you're gonna have to eat. So what foods should you be eating? Let's have a look. So let's start with an obvious one, which is bars and gels. So these are great because they're designed specifically for these types of events. They are pretty small and they can be kept in your pack and stored away in pretty easy to get to places, so you can use them at any time when out on the trail or running anywhere. It's really easy to get to them. However, if you're anything like me, you'll probably try and open your gel, fail and get it all over you. That's pretty typical in any of my races. But they are one of the easiest things to carry whilst running. I find that bars are a little bit more useful than gels because you can divide them up into quarters and you can eat a quarter every now and then, say every 20 minutes, whereas a gel almost needs to be consumed all in one go. Otherwise you'll put it in your pack and it will get everywhere and they're sticky and horrible. One tip that you can use for gels is if you find a flavour that you really like, you can empty loads of them into a small little bottle and add a tiny little bit of water to it, and then you can sip at that. This means that you can actually take on those calories a little bit slower, so you can stick with the little and often idea of taking your nutrition on. Next up is a carbohydrate drink. These can be extremely useful because you don't have to fuss with any wrappers. All you do is add a few scoops to your water that goes in your Camelback or your soft bottles. What I do find though is if you put it in a Camelback, you can't tell how much you've had. So it's really key to just keep monitoring to see how many calories you've taken on, because you don't want to take on too many or too few. Another benefit of a carb drink is that you are fueling and hydrating at the same time. This can be really useful because some people forget to drink, so by combining the two you're sort of knocking that out. Also, some carb drinks have electrolytes in, which are key on an ultramarathon. They're so important, so that can be really helpful. The only thing I find with carb drinks though is that taste fatigue can set in. Sometimes I just get sick of it and I just can't take it on, so after a few hours having that same taste just gets a little bit boring and repetitive and I just want something else. If you are going to use a carb drink and put it in your water, I would recommend having at least one water source that doesn't have anything in it, because if you do get over thirsty you can take that on without actually taking on any extra calories, because you might not want to take the extra calories on, but you may want to hydrate. So you can also have fruit. Things like bananas are really good because again they can go in the pack and it's really easy to transport them. However, fruit is great because it hydrates you as well. For me, my favourite thing is when I see watermelon at an aid station. I just get super excited because watermelon is amazing and it hydrates you as well, which is really good. One thing to think about with fruit though is that it doesn't necessarily have loads of calories in. So if you're only using fruit and you're trying to hit a certain amount of calories, you might have to have quite a lot of it to hit those calories. So sometimes maybe it's best to have something that's a little bit more calorie dense with it, just so you maybe don't have to consume as much. One of the big downsides to fruit is that other than bananas, they're quite difficult to carry and consume on the run. Segmenting an orange is not going to be that easy, and you're not going to put like a big handful of strawberries in your pack, are you? That's just not going to work. Another thing is my friend Sana absolutely swears by pineapple. She claims it's this wonder fruit that's amazing on any run, and if she sees it she goes mental for it. So yeah, try it. I haven't tried it yet, but apparently it's really good. So sweets and chocolate, these can be quite useful. They're usually quite calorie dense. They have a lot of sugar in, so if you're feeling really rough, this might just give you a bit of a kick. You may want to combine this with something that has a little bit longer lasting energy. So these simple sugars that are in sweets and chocolate, they can often give you a really quick spike of energy, but then you crash straight back down. So something that gives you longer lasting energy to go with this could really help. However, if you are in a really sticky, horrible situation and you're feeling extremely depleted, some Haribos or something like that can just pick you up quite nicely. So that's something to try. Something else to consider is the electrolytes that are contained in the food, because electrolytes are so important. They work with fluids to keep your cells, muscles and organs working properly. So it's really, really important to keep that up. Obviously you can have the electrolyte tablets that you can put in your water. These are really good. Often they don't have any calories in, or maybe have like 5 calories per tablet. So this isn't going to really impact your nutrition, or you can get it in the carb drink like I said. And lots of foods, especially fruits and things, have lots of electrolytes in, which really help. One thing you might want is something like some pastries, like some croissants or pain au chocolat or something like that. They can be really good. I absolutely love them. They're one of my favorite foods. So for me, it's something that I really look forward to. Also, I find with these foods that they don't really give you stomach problems. That's something that can come from the bars and gels. gels is that they can get a little bit thick at times and they just don't feel great going down. So something that's a little bit on the lighter side but still has some good carbs in can be really useful. So pastries work really well. Another thing to take note on is your cravings. So in a race, you might have some mad craving for something. I get it a lot on training runs. I really like bagels, and sometimes halfway into a training run, I think about a toasted bagel with some butter on, and that's it. I just want to run home because that's all I can think about. In a race, the mental aspect is so important. So if you get a craving for something and you've got a support team or someone who can help sort of satisfy that craving, that might really help you on the race. If you can overcome that sort of mental game of going, right, actually, I really want this, and having it makes you happier. Positivity on an ultra is really, really important and will help your race go better. So if you do get a craving and you think you can satisfy it, definitely do. So you can see there that there's loads of food options for an ultra marathon, and I think it's a good idea to test it all out in training, see what works for you, but also have a sort of diverse balance of foods that you can use that work, because you might find on a race that you're sick of something or something's not working. So it's really important to have those options there, because that will really help on a race. So for me, on an ultra, I often stick with Hammer bars and their gels. I really like those. At aid stations, I use things like flapjacks and some fruit. If there's watermelon, I'll definitely be getting some of that. That's really helpful, and that's what I try to stick to as much as possible. Anything really long, I'll see if I can have some pastries at the beginning, and then as I can't consume, I'll change up what I'm having. Let me know in the comments below what you like to have on an ultra marathon, or any foods that you think would be good, or maybe anything that's gone wrong, because sometimes foods just don't go down well. If you do like ultra running content, then I've got a great video up here all about how to eat when you're running, and also YouTube thinks that you'll probably like this video down here. Thank you very much for watching. Please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to be notified of when I upload. I'll see you in the next one.